good to see everyone out there for the May 10th meeting of the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. We'd like to ask at this time if you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, if you would just please turn it off until we complete the meeting. At this time, if you'll please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance. Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together on this beautiful morning. As always, dear Lord, we just ask that you be with us as we go through this meeting. Help us to everything that we say and do and the actions that we take, that they will be, first of all, give glory to you and be in the best interest of those who live here. We thank you for everyone that is here today. We ask that you watch over them as they return to their respective homes and jobs and give everyone a safe trip. We pray these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item will be to adopt the agenda, and we do have one thing that we need to add, so we need to amend the agenda. Number 6, under new business, if you will put down Lake Meriwether Board recommendation. Can we have a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment?
Madam Chair, so moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? We have the minutes from the April 25th regular meeting. We've had the opportunity to look over those. Are there any changes or corrections that need to be made?
I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
All right, we have a second. Second. All in favor? We come now for the time for municipal comments, and we have Mayor Glover from Greenville.
Thank you. I don't have anything. Maybe one of these days I am.
We're just glad you're here. That's right. Mr. Westbury from Manchester.
Thank you for the opportunity that I have to share this morning.
Thank you for being here. Mayor Prater from Warm Springs.
Can I defer to the public comments and see if I get discussions?
Okay, all right, that'll be fine. We'll move on to the constitutional officers, and I don't see anyone or any of their offices represented. Now, if they come in later, we'll give them an opportunity. All right, we'll move right along to our department heads. Skip?
Nothing at this time.
Ron?
All I have is over here.
Alphonse?
Yes, ma'am. Just something brief, great consequence. So I wanted to just mention that, we went to the fair this last weekend. We posted a fish truck for that. Had a great time, uneventful. We're also going to be posting a 5th extra truck for anticipating Woodbury Days. I think the tension on that, the potential for that is diffusing, but we want to be prepared, so we'll be kind of beefing up just in case for that. Other than that, this is normal. So.
And your new granddad.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations. All right. Keith, we'll just get you as you're walking in.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. You have anything for us?
No, ma'am, I think all's covered.
Okay. All right, Ms. Jane?
Okay.
All right, does that get all of our department heads? All right, Ms. Susan? Nobody has anything to say this morning. All right, we do have a need for a public hearing. At this time, can we have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, we're in a public hearing. Ron, up to you.
Alcohol application submitted by Mark Miller. He and his wife are owners of the roadside grill up at Ed Gay, just outside City Limits of Gay. And Mr. Miller is not a resident of Meriwether County, so he has to have a licensed representative, which has to be a resident of the county. And that licensed representative is Rodney Goss. I think they're both here this morning. And I have performed a background check and everything checked out on the background check, and I think you all have a full package.
Any commissioners have any questions? Or does anyone from the audience want to speak on the request for the alcohol license? All right, any commissioners? There?
No, I just wanted to say that you guys have received some information through the email on this, and just wanted you guys to be aware of it, sure everyone has seen that information. But as Mr. Garrett said, I think the background checks has turned up positive. And, if the board chooses to grant the license, then of course the licensee needs to understand that it will be supervised by Ron and his staff, and that any violations could result in the revocation of the alcohol license, and depending on the severity, possibly even the business license. So just everybody understanding that.
Madam Chair, I do want to comment. That is in my district. I'm excited that someone is wanting to open a business, a small business in the county. That particular location has had several businesses there, and unfortunately they've not all been successful. But once again, hopefully this individual will be able to have a successful business here in the county. It is known that your small business are the vital part of any community. So hopefully they will have a very successful business here if the board votes on it. So for me personally, I am for allowing it to happen.
Is that a motion?
Wait, no, not out of public. Which one's Mr. Miller? I don't know who it's with. As Theron mentioned, the board has received some emails with some concerns, maybe about some things maybe had happened, previously, but I don't think there's anything there really that would preclude us from offering the license. But like I always like to say, a license is a privilege. It's not a right, and there comes lots of responsibility with it. And just as Theron said, if it is granted, that is monitored by Ron's office. And of course, any violation of the alcohol ordinance could result in it being, revoked. Anybody else in the audience? All right, can I have a motion to go out of the public hearing?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Second. All in favor? We're back into the regular session. We've heard the information from Ron. We have a motion regarding this license.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation of Ron that we give the permit for license for Mr. Mark Miller.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? It's approved. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to old business. That's the approval of proposal for the architectural and engineering services for the fire department.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, we're still working on that contract, so I would ask you, the board to table that, and we'll have that back available to you next week. So they will get in touch with the architect.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
motion to table.
All right, we have a second. Second. All in favor? Now we'll go to new business and the public transportation service agreement between Meriwether County and the Three Rivers Commission. Robert, we'll turn it over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I gave y'all a little reference information for our hopefully brief discussion this morning. Today, I'm coming before the commission really to discuss a little bit about a potential modification to the existing contract. And as I reported to the Three Rivers Council last week, or about a week and a half ago, that we were working on FY18 contracts. So for Meriwether's FY18 contract, I kind of wanted to see where I can get some direction over the next couple weeks, and then I can generate your FY18 transit contract and send it along. When we started the Meriwether transit system, we started with 2 buses, and then the idea was to bring in a 3rd bus to kind of be the extra capacity bus to help serve the county due to its size and rural nature, and also to look at potential limited services to external locations from time to time, because we have had citizens indicate they need to go to locations sometimes LaGrange, sometimes Noonan. Those are the two that kind of pop up the most. But you know, I am aware you've got four major municipal areas within a 30 or so mile radius. So what I did in this contract is on the third page, Article 3, Item 5. If y'all, do they have a copy of the contract? So it'll be at the bottom of page 3. What the proposed language is, and this doesn't have to be decided today, this is just a potential modification for y'all to consider, would be your service area is Meriwether County, and then limited service may be provided to either Columbus, LaGrange, Noonan, or Thomaston, and that limited service would basically be based on on-demand schedules with possibly an enhanced fare box fee to help cover the cost of running the bus to those locations. In the handout that I gave you today, I gave you our service area map, what your transit system did last fiscal year, so you can kind of see who it's serving. And then we created a table to kind of give you an idea of what it costs for transit or somebody driving Uber or a taxi to potentially serve some of these locations nearby that we're discussing today. There's really not a surprise with any of these taxi costs. I know that Piedmont Hospital up in Noonan has often cited the $60 to $80 range to run somebody up to on a taxi up to the hospital from Meriwether County. Uber is a little different. I mean, that's of course private transportation. They're not subject to all the same standards and certifications that government is, and they don't necessarily have to hang around and worry about a return trip. That could be somebody else. And then the other thing is they're not necessarily automatically equipped to deal with disabled riders that maybe have some form of disability. And then the last kind of breakout is if we ran a bus to some of these locations, you know, they're about 45 minutes or so away, so we were looking at about an hour cost. So if you run the bus there and back, it's probably about 2 hours, and then we've got some wait time. So this just gives you an idea of some hourly cost. We also broke it down into by mile and you know, long distance, and we're trying to come up with that good cost estimate for what it would take to serve these areas. Now, under the transit program, GDOT pays for half of our operating costs, so we don't have to come up with this whole amount. But as part of the local share, you know, the locals pay the other 50%. And so what we do here is, this is where Three Rivers works with y'all, and we broker some state trips that are going in the general direction and the general public. So we have the ability to help bundle trips that are going in some of these directions, and again buy down the cost to make this feasible. But I would like to just briefly draw your attention to our service area map. If someone is taking a spare bus to, say, Thomaston or Noonan, Three Rivers has a regional contract where, again, we can bundle some trips going that way and bring some revenue to bear and help fund that cost. We contract with Troup County separately as their own individual system. So to help pay for limited service from, say, Meriwether to LaGrange, we need to bundle some trips in Meriwether County in advance and send them as a group, and to help keep that cost down. Down into Columbus, that's another regional commission area, so again, if we ran the bus down there, we would need to bundle some trips so that we can pay that hourly cost to run the bus down there. So really in any of these scenarios, we're not proposing dedicated set times every day service to these external locations. Your primary purpose for your bus is to be your spare capacity here, but also have that option to run out to these other locations where we have demand and where we can bundle the trips to pay for that cost. So the language in the contract basically says that, and then it allows us, your transportation experts, to bundle and schedule those trips and make it happen. We have routing and dispatching software, so when people call in, they order the trips, it assigns the trips to a bus, and then when we get enough demand, we can shoot it on out. So I guess based on where we go, we can modify the FY18 contract for some limited service, and then it's really at your discretion whether or not this late in the fiscal year you want to try to modify the existing contract. What's in front of you today is the existing contract.
Just a couple of questions. Let's just use the Greenville to Thomaston trip where it says the one-way $62.82. Okay, the state covers half of that cost.
Yes.
All right, so then the remaining 30 some odd dollars, is that the individual's responsibility that's riding, or is that our responsibility?
What we try to do is break down the hourly cost of the bus. So that hourly cost to run a one-way trip over from Greenville to Thomaston, in this case, our cost is $62.82. GDOT funds half of that, and then some combination of rider fares, or if we've got Meriwether citizens where the state's paying for their transportation and then they need to go to Thomaston, we just need to bundle up enough where we're basically covering that other $32
Okay.
for 1 hour.
All right, one other question. On page 4, where it says the fare box revenue, it says the fare amount is between, but it just says $3 per one-way passenger trip. Is there a range there, or should it just be the $3?
That's a typo on my part. Your fare is $3.
$3.
The discussion the comments that I just made a little earlier about a potential enhanced fare. In some areas of the state, to go outside of the county, there's a different fare than to be inside of the county. Some of them do. In other regional areas, it's say a different rate to go out of the county, and then if you go, well, in this case, unless you're going to Columbus, you're not really going more than one county away. But there probably would need to be a little bit of an enhanced fare for out-of-county service, because literally nobody's trying to make any kind of profit off of these trips. For the public transportation system, we're simply trying to recover our cost. So if we take the bus over there, one, there's a cost for the trip, but two, there's also a cost for the bus it's got to hang around and then come back. So in the Three Rivers system, if we take your bus and say it goes to Thomaston, and while it's waiting on your citizens, because that's a service area, we could pick up some folks around there and deliver them, still earn a little bit of revenue, and then bring your citizens back. And that's kind of part of the strength of our regional system.
That seems like hard to do.
A legion of accountants and technicians.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So I've noticed, like you said, in Lamar, Pike, but they have that agreement that they can go in and out of those counties and do that. So is Meriwether and Troup are the only counties that are essentially on their own?
In the Three Rivers system. So what this map shows you is where I say Three Rivers Transit System. These are all counties that are members of the Three Rivers Regional Transit System.
Okay.
And then Hurden County are their own local systems. So they administer it, manage it, all that, and they're by themselves. In the three, and Coweta, I'm sorry.
Okay.
In Meriwether and Carroll, and even though we don't administer at Coweta, when we began the service, we had 2 buses, and based on your distances and your needs, we didn't feel like with just 2 buses we could do a lot of out-of-county travel. So our recommendation was to come back with that 3rd extra capacity bus. And some of these conversations have taken place over several years because of how long it takes DOT to get the bus to you. But what we found out since the service started is that based on your snapshot graphic here, I do this pie chart down at the bottom. Your transit system is being used a lot for basically employment and senior-based needs. And a lot of times, a lot of those are local. So we know during the time that we've been operating, we get calls, and just because the bus is way up here or way down on the other end of the county, there's not that gap filler ability, so we can't do all the calls that we get. So one of the things of that 3rd bus is to help fill some of those gaps and then see where we can go outside. But in y'all's cases, a lot of what I don't really hear that much about needing to go to Thomaston, but since we're looking at it, we may as well at least plan for it. Mostly it's Noonan and occasionally LaGrange, but a lot of, at least here, a lot of the rider demand is to go to Noonan, at least if it's outside of the county.
So basically, you're saying that the service is used for like daily, like for instance, a person has a job and, well, let's just say here in Meriwether County, so they can schedule a full week to use that service?
DOT rules don't allow us to do that. When there's a lot of riders that may just use it once or twice, and then you've got other riders that are kind of regular. And so under the rules, they have to schedule their trip at least 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
Now, DOT won't let us do a week at a time, but we try to work with people, particularly if they're regular riders. They're going to the same location. But under
That big of a percentage is using it for employment. It must be working though. I mean, that's a pretty good percentage.
It is, and when you see the employment part, these are people going to jobs, obviously in your case, in the county. So these are the people that work, at the local stores, the local shops, and you never know if your car breaks down or something happens with a family member. You never know when you'll need the transit service. But typically in our region, it's employment and senior-based needs, and depending on the age demographics of the county, those pieces of the pie chart move up and down.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, my recommendation on this, and we certainly appreciate Robert, the great job that he does managing all this. I would recommend we have a work session on the 23rd, and Robert and I spoke about this briefly. I hope he'll be able to come back and join us for that, but I'd like to be able to get together what some other counties are doing in terms of their rules of ridership, because I know we've got people who called Beverly and myself multiple times who really kind of think this is going to be like a tax but it's not. It's to fill in if your car breaks down or something like that. It's not a regular ride to work every day. I think we're going to need to place some restrictions on these out-of-town trips. Is it going to be something that delivers a service that's not available here in Meriwether County, for example, or are we just going to have people go on shopping? So we need to determine what those rules are, we need to discuss that, I think, a little bit more before we finalize this. The contract that we're looking at is only good through the end of June, and then we got to review it. So my issue would be let's work on some things that can not only be with this contract, but can continue on into our next year's contract as well. And if it's okay with the board, my recommendation would be that we look at this and talk about it in our next week's work session. We can kind of concentrate on this as one item, give you a lot of information, and then you guys will be able to make a decision based on that.
Madam Chair, I do have one other question for Mr. Hine. Those calls that you're getting where the need is in Coweta, do you know what those calls vary? I mean, are they medical, are they work related? Are you able to track what it is that they're asking to go to Coweta for?
It's medical and jobs.
Okay.
And so again, the medical's a little bit easier to serve because you're scheduling doctor's appointments. Sometimes they can be moved around. Jobs are a little bit harder because again, it's that dedicated out-of-county service. The rural programs don't operate like the big urban ones where there's that guarantee that bus is coming in a certain direction every day. If you have enough density and enough cost, it's cost efficient, then there's a likelihood that there could be a routine route, but there's no way to guarantee it. I mean, things change, and so I've always come to y'all with a very conservative approach, and even with this bus, we didn't increase the local match request with this third bus because the idea for the out-of-county services is limited, and if demand changes and the citizens, is that something the citizens really need, then that's a different funding discussion that we should have. But I don't want to get us or y'all in a situation where we're running these routes and then we run into a funding shortfall.
Talking with some other counties is a good idea. Cobbin County's bus is in Meriwether County every single day. And I don't know if they even have a grocery store or anything there. That may be part of the reason that I've seen them at the grocery store, that kind of thing. They'd be one that you could talk with probably and see what their guidelines are.
Number 5 on page 3. Would it be possible if they would add Griffin in there as well?
I can add any area that you want,
What did you say?
but
For the northeast part of the county?
I can add, any area that y'all want, but there's a cost to serving those areas. And it boils down to, where can I leverage other dollars in the region to help pay for it, and where I can't, then the locals have to cover the difference.
Well, that's why I was asking earlier, Madam Chair, which were your calls? And if the bulk of your calls are coming out of Coweta versus the other areas, then meet the demands of the citizens and where they want to go. Having that data, I think, would be crucial in order to make a decision on what that looks like. So if we can have that data, that'll be good.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Hearing the recommendation from Mr. Gay, can we have a motion to table this to our work session, and I guess then possibly on to our next
On to the next agenda
meeting?
for action.
Okay, for action. So moved. Oh, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Thank you. All right, next will be the awarding of the TAN note, Mr. Bill.
And so we advertise in the local paper for 2 weeks currently as the law requires. And in addition to that, we sent out requests to 5 banks within the county asking quote on it, and we were expecting 3 bids. We only got 2. One's from United Bank in Woodbury at 2.135%, and the other from First Peoples here in Greenville at 1.96. Based on those 2 rates, and 1.96 is lower than what we had last year. So our recommendation is that we award the TAN note to First Peoples Bank at interest rate of 1.96 to be not to exceed $2.5 million, to be paid in full by 12/31/2017.
Can we have a motion to set the TAN note with the bid from Greenville's First Peoples Bank for 1.96, not to exceed $2.5 million?
So moved, Madam Chair.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you, ma'am.
Hopefully we won't take it for a while. All right, next will be to confirm the right-of-way on Montgomery Road.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners, we're continuing to acquire right-of-way. We have now acquired right-of-way from Ms. Gladys Burns. So this is the other side of Montgomery Road. So Montgomery Road is now ready to be able to move forward with the contractor. We also have reached out to and made contact with the owners of Brown Road, and I'm hoping by next week we'll have that right away as well. And we got the deeds as soon as we get all of them. We thought it would probably be good since there would be sequential numbers, just to put them all on record at one time. And so that's what we're planning. This is just to confirm we have executed a right-of-way agreement with Ms. Gladys Burns.
Okay, we have a motion to confirm the right-of-way agreement.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second. All right, all in favor? All right, next, EMS collections. Is that
Madam Chair, I distributed to the board at the last meeting a copy of the motion from EMS collections. Their representative was not able to get to me this morning, so I'm suggesting that we table this to the work session when he can be here to answer any questions that you guys might have, and then to act upon that.
possibly at the meeting? Okay. All right, can we have a motion to table the discussion on EMS collections?
Move table, Madam Chair.
Second. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, next we have a proclamation for Older Americans Month. We'll read this. This is in honor of Older Americans Month, whereas Meriwether County includes a community of older Americans who deserve recognition for their contributions to our nation and our community, and whereas Meriwether County recognizes that older adults are trailblazers, advocating for themselves, their peers, and their communities, paving the way for future generations. And whereas this year's theme, Age Out Loud, highlights what older adults have to say as they focus on independence, strive for wellness, and for advocating themselves through new work and new passions, engaging in their communities and finding a new voice that reflects today's older adults. And whereas we appreciate the value of inclusion and support in helping older adults successfully contribute to and benefit from their communities, and we are committed to raising awareness about these issues facing older Americans and helping all individuals to thrive in communities of their choice for as long as possible. And whereas our community can provide opportunities to enrich the lives of individuals of all ages by promoting and engaging in activities, wellness, and social involvement, emphasizing home and community-based services that support independent living, and ensuring community members can benefit from the contributions and experiences of older adults. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners that May 2017 be recognized as Older Americans Month, and we encourage every resident to take time this month to acknowledge older adults and the people who serve them as powerful and vital individuals who greatly contribute to our community. This 10th day of May 2017. And we don't have anyone here, I don't think, present to accept the proclamation, but we'll certainly get it to you. Can we have a motion to accept the proclamation?
Motion to accept.
Have a second. Second. All in favor? All right, number 6 on the, under new business is the added item, the Lake Meriwether Board recommendation. I'll turn this over to Commissioner McCoy.
Okay, I'll go with it. Last evening, Madam Chair, the Lake Meriwether Board met. We had several items on the table that we discussed and talked about, but there's only one that we raised to a level of recommendation to the board. With Peaches and the Pines pretty much breathing down our neck here, needing more service there, we had a presentation last night of a 400 amp service wall mounted that should ensure us of any needed electrical needs for that area. There are other phases of this, but this is the only one I'm recommending at this time, that we go ahead, follow through, and install this 400 amp service. Wayne, who did the presentation, is thinking we can do this for somewhere around $3,000. I'll ask you to give us 20% on either side of that. And most of this work will be done by volunteers.
That cost goes primarily material.
Because the cost will be materials. The volunteers themselves will not be paid. And I'll make that in the form.
I think we have the funds for that too, for a donation that we can give to Georgia Pacific. Do we have any questions or discussion? I know it's something we've talked about for a while. Yes, sir.
Are we gonna be able to get it done before Peaches and Pines, you think?
Well, that's the optic, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
June 1st.
Mr. McCoy, you said that 3,000 is for the total, or is that the cost to the county, or is that the county?
That would be the cost of the county. It would be the cost pretty much of just what the materials for the installation cost. You know, the county, and we'll be doing some in-kind, we'll have the, certainly the Bobcat, or we'll have some way to install the cable. And Wayne and some others have already agreed to volunteer their services. And anybody that wants to be there when we set a work day, you will not be turned away, I can assure you.
There'll be block laying too.
It will be some block laying in order to make the wall. And when you see these walls, the person driving by will just see a wall. We can put whatever we want on there. We can identify the area, or say Lake Meriwether Park, have a nice day. Anything we want to put on the signs can be done. The actual electrical will all be on the back. Now in the park, certainly you can see it, but just driving by you won't see it. That's what we're looking at.
Any others? Can we have a motion to proceed with the recommendation of this 400 amp service at Lake Meriwether?
So moved.
Can you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
We do appreciate the donation from Georgia Pacific that allows us to
Exactly.
do this. Let me go back. Brian came in after we did the department heads. Do you have anything?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update on the website. I'm about to roll that out. I just have some other things, and if you'd like to take a look at it real quick, I mean, I can just bring it up on the screen if you like.
Sure.
Just get meriwethercountyga.us. I published this to a different website address, and as well as while he's bringing that up, through the request of Ms. Beverly and Mr. Theron, I also last night stayed up late and created an employee portal. This will be something right now currently is basically for them to go and get their health care information. It's got links to the new Shaw Hankins site. It's also, and I broke those links out as well to where here's the site up and here's the website coming up. But I don't have all the buttons and all the links finished yet, but the idea was when we met kind of with, where's that internet not wanting to load. And then there's that fix it hasn't loaded yet. I'd like to really get y'all's input on it, but the idea of this was to be simple, kind of to the point, but very informative. I don't know about you, but I hate personally when I go to a website and I have to dig 7 and 8 links deep to find something. Most of what you want will be either 1 or 2 links in. If you can go to government, Skip, and just bring down, and actually Board of Commissioners, and each one of you will have your own kind of page. Right now I've got 3 of each one of those and just show. And then they're just in order of district, and each one will have a contact form that somebody can send you an email direct. There's Ms. Bray's, and then I also have Vice Chairman McCoy on there as well. Each department, if you go to, say, departments go to 911. There's our new 911 center there, but it'll flash through there. It just gives you a little information about the department, and then your contact information, and then also on the left there, it'll give you some numbers that, rather than people calling 911, they can call these numbers, of course. Each page will have that. We'll go back up to departments. Let's go to fire rescue. And now we want to get actual official pictures of everybody. This is just kind of a filler, but it kind of gives you just a little synopsis of each department.
Every department will have one of those.
That's correct. That's correct. Sheriff's office goes straight to their, if I'm not mistaken, goes straight to their page.
Looks like we're all shaking.
Just having the phone numbers on there will be a huge plus. I don't know about the local phone book here, but the one in Manchester, there's not a number that's right for any of the county offices, and half of them are not even listed, so that would be a huge help.
We haven't got that page quite in there, but the other, I'll just show you the employee portal real quick that I worked on last night. If you go to maricoportal.org.
What was the address again?
Marico portal, or which one? The new?
The web pages.
The web page, this will roll over to our maricocountyga.gov. This will replace it. But this one, portal.org. This is kind of what I stayed up last night completing. And basically what they can do here is, it's basically just very simple. You have to log in as an employee. If you can go check on healthcare, you'll see it'll prompt you for a login. But basically what it'll have on there is you can register for it yourself. Basically what you do is you go to the site, you register, and we just approve you to get into it. And it'll just be just different forms and your healthcare stuff, anything we really want our employees to have, where they don't have to, bother our county clerk and anybody else for that, different forms and things like that. Is that what you're looking for, Beverly?
Yeah, just something that people can have 24/7 from home if they need it, or if they're working late, they can pull up the information on their phone.
And that's what this will be for here. And this is all, right now we've got it kind of spread out across a couple different URLs, but this will all link together eventually. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Skip.
Appreciate it.
So is this information available now? If we get a call about something about the jail, can we refer them to this web page now?
Not just yet. I'll be probably rolling it out in the next couple weeks.
But they already have, the sheriff's office has their own
Yeah,
page
we've already got
already.
it, but
You can go to
you can
theirs.
actually, hey, Mayor Glover, you can actually get to that right now from our current site. That information's on there.
We just got so many calls
Yeah.
that we have.
It's just, with our current site, for us to change anything in there is just, it costs money for them to do it. With this new site, we control everything. We can control the way it looks. Can I get how y'all feel about how you like the look of the new
Yeah,
site?
I mean, it looks good to me.
And
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
That employee portal, will they have access to their personal data, like pay stubs or W-2?
I'll tell you why that is, because we actually priced that bill, and what was that? It was like $7 per employee per month to do that through CSI, and you multiply that by 220 $1,400 a month, and you can do the math from there, upwards of $18,000 a year. Unfortunately, no. What they can get is basically information that is not necessarily for the general public per se, but it's for like employee stuff, benefits. And I mean, anybody can file a record request for it, but I mean, it's just a way for them to get in their benefits. It's got links to the new Blue Cross, it's got links to Shaw Hankins, it's got links to their dental. It outlines everything in their new healthcare plan. And then we'll have some forms on there that they can go in and they can download themselves rather than having to call up here and get one or get it from their department head. They can actually do it themselves. We also talked about having an online application as well, but we have to figure out policy and procedure for that as far as, we don't want to get a bunch of applications that we don't have positions open for.
Well, and retirement on there too.
Sure, retirement. Anything that you could possibly think of that an employee would need, that every employee can look at. You're right, it would be great if they could log in and do their own personal stuff, but I just think for the county right now, it's not cost effective.
Would it be too burdensome to put a policy manual on there?
No, that's actually in there.
Good.
Yeah, I've actually got the SOP. You didn't see the top, but I've got the personal policy manual at the top.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Beth, I called up there last Monday and asked to be put on the agenda, and Beverly told me she would. And I said, I'm not on there.
Madam Chairman, I said rather than, I talked to this person, I said, rather to go on the agenda to talk about what you were talking about, I scheduled an appointment with him. He actually came an hour early. I was not here then. Said he was going to come back at the time and did not come back. The matter that Mr. Hudson wants to talk about, Madam Chairman, it involves a staff member of the county, and that is my recommendation to the board would be that comes back. This is a public forum for you guys, but I don't think it's appropriate to air differences in a public forum. If it comes to that, and I can't help resolve the issue, then naturally it would be, but that's the reason it's not on the agenda. My understanding was he and I were going to meet.
My understanding was even if I met or did not meet you, that I was to stay on the agenda. And I don't plan on saying anything in public. And actually, the open record of Georgia states that any allegations made against the county employee ought to be done in open session, and y'all can discuss the allegations later.
Well, and again, before we present those, in fairness to the employee and fairness to me to be able to recommend to the commissioners any action or non-action, I need to know and understand that. There is a public comment section at the end of the agenda.
Well,
but my understanding,
y'all's rules said call up here, and that's the whole problem. Y'all never adhere to your own rules. The zoning administrator does not, y'all do not, and you say call up here before a certain date to get put on the agenda. I'm not on the agenda.
That's right.
Lied to again by the county.
Not lied to, and I take offense to that. I scheduled a meeting with Mr. Hudson. I scheduled a meeting with him. He did not show up.
I can't help you. You can't get to work on time.
Hey, I'm part-time, and I don't
That's
work
out of line.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Mr. Hudson, that is completely out of line.
Well,
Okay.
this is out of line.
You're welcome to talk at the public comment if you'd like, and it sounds like you and Mr. Gay had already talked, set up a meeting. For whatever reason, it didn't work out, but this is completely out of line.
Well, it's
Sorry.
out of line, but I'm not on the agenda.
That's it. All right, let's go on to the report from the finance director.
Madam Chair, you've got a couple of reports in front of you. I just want to highlight, general fund balance is still strongly 2.7 million. We still have 1.6 million in the construction account and splice that we need to go ahead and use those funds where we can, but save those that we're going to use for the road in the next couple of years. And that's just bringing that total down. 911, we still have a strong balance there. Those funds will be transferred to the general funds when they're needed. Fire bond fund still at 3 I would love to spend that down as soon as I could. Hopefully that'll come in the next month or so. We're working hard on that to do that, and we still hadn't got a determination on those landfill funds, but that's on our list, and we'll get to that hopefully soon.
Y'all did meet with somebody regarding the new requirement, whatever they were asking about, something for us to monitor or whatever?
Okay. And I will give you guys a report on that.
And briefly on the property tax collections for 2016 are at 93.92, which is a little bit over 1% that the Department of Revenues recommends that you have prior to the next tax digest coming out in June. So I think we'll make that 95% there. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
All right, any questions? All right, next we have a report from Mr. Gay.
Thank you. For the report, we actually have now received the CSXDs, the final paperwork for transfer of those bridges, and we'll have that on your next agenda. And the process of review. They did add the extra width that we had asked for maintenance, to be able to have right away for easement for maintenance. And I just want to confirm with the GDOT that everything has been done before I put it back before the board. And at your next meeting, we should be able to take that agenda, that item off the agenda. So that will be a good thing. So that is moving forward. Bill mentioned briefly about the fire district update. We'll continue to work on that. Appreciate all the work he and Alphonse and others have done. We're in the process of speccing out equipment. We've had some soil testing done. We're getting some surveys done, and everything is looking, very good. And I will be talking to the architect about moving forward with that design. We'll bring that back to the board. Once we confirm these exact locations, get everything tested, we'll bring those back to the board for y'all's approval, and they'll probably come in either 4 or 5 to start with, and then we'll go from there. Wanted to let you know we had a meeting with Probation Services, Assistant DA, on our community service program, and thought it went very well. We worked out a scenario where the sheriff, instead of having to track who comes, who doesn't, he's going to take the community service back down to the community service office, and they're going to log them in. We also met with felony probation to look at the possibility of getting extra community service there. And I was very pleased with that meeting. This Laura was the assistant DA that was there, and a very positive attitude about helping us and working with us with community service. So very good meeting. Did meet with Tyrell, and I went to the Two Rivers meeting. That was a good meeting. We learned some things that we possibly can do to try to help bring some more dollars into the community. One of the things that a couple things that we talked to them about the possibility of trying to help us with. One of those is the program where you use calcium chloride for dust control. They've not done that before, but I think there'll be a lot of interest in some of the rural counties, and so I want to talk back with them about that. Want to mention to you guys, we have a new animal control director coming in. His name is Sean Downs. He's going to be coming on the 22nd, and he's coming this Friday to be able to be introduced, and we'll bring him to the next meeting where you guys can meet him as well. Not only is he experienced in animal control, he's also a post-certified correctional officer. So Bill has discussed, and she has, he's talked to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office will indeed work with us, so there's a possibility we may be able to get some inmates from the sheriff's office to help the jail, because he is a post-certified officer. So that was a big plus as well. Next on my list, I wanted to introduce Allison Stevens, and she is our new administrative assistant. She's done a great job. She's hit the ground running, and she's been a big help to all of us. And we're very glad, very proud to have her in. And I think she's going to hit the ground running. I think your next series of meetings, I think she's going to do the minutes on, and she'll do a great job. So I wanted to mention that. And she and I and Beverly and Skip, primarily Skip, and these two have worked on a task tracking program. One of the concerns that I've always had is items that get approved in the agenda, making sure we get those done and they don't fall off the table and don't get done. So we're going to put I've used a similar type program in the past, it just allows me to keep up with what's going on. So that task tracking program, actually after the meeting today, we're going to start the utilization of that program. So I did want to mention that. I want to remind you guys the casual connection at the chamber, that is, I think, tomorrow evening at 5:30 to 7:30. And then also this, since we last met, I attended the IDA meeting, the Airport Authority meeting, the Recreation Board meeting, the Lake Meriwether Board meeting, the Two Rivers Board meeting, and we met with Waste Management up in Turkey Run about our programs. And I thought it was a very good meeting. We're going to try to put together some more ideas and thoughts and some questions we have about that, and try to get back together to get all those things answered. So I thought that was very good. And last but not least, received a letter from Danielle Austin, who is the president of the Georgia County Clerks Association. And she has advised us that Clerks Week is the first full week of May, so it's this week. And she notes that our clerks work hard to keep things in order, so the valuable information is always available to you. County clerks do a joint initiative with city clerks, are working hard to be seen as professionals that they truly are. And she's asked that we take time this week to thank the clerk for the job that they do and the efforts they put forth in keeping the commission and the county efficient. And I would say that our clerk is one of the very best, if not the best county clerk in the state of Georgia. She handles a lot more than just clerk. It's amazing sometimes all the things that she juggles. And I've enjoyed working with her tremendously. And I know Allison is coming in and she's going to do a great job as a deputy clerk for us as well. But I did want to recognize Beverly today and just tell her thank you for all you do for all of us.
Thank you. She is very well respected among her peers too. Other clerks.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the report from our county commissioners, and we'll go with Commissioner Bray. I don't have anything. Oh, I just have a couple of things. Mr. Gay did mention about the chambers after hours. Carolyn couldn't be here again today, and I meant to, I don't have really any report from her. I know they've got a lot going on there. It was good to meet with the folks from the probation office, Commissioner Hines and I did. Sometimes it's just good to sit down to talk and hear everybody's perspective and what they do and how things happen. I think we just assume sometimes how things should go and what they should do, and I thought it was a good meeting with them. The only other thing, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. That will be this coming Sunday. Commissioner McCoy?
Madam Chair, I may have more than my fair share here, but let me get started and run through a few things. The visit to Greenbow Landfill, the one that Mr. Thurman just made mention to, we did meet with Gabe Gribble, and I think we've opened up some avenues there and going back and kind of fleshing out what some of these things in the fixed host agreement actually means. We talked to him a little bit about recycle, and that's something we're going to have to go back and revisit. And looked at the hours on the free Saturday when you can go take your things over there. And so there's a lot more, and I'm hoping some future discussions is going to bring some more, even maybe a full recycle program
There's
to
a lot
the
of
county.
interest in that.
There is, and I think we need to pursue that. As I look here, I think everybody knows, we mentioned earlier, Peaches in the Pines is certainly coming up on us June the 10th and 11th this year. Be 2 days there at Lake Meriwether. Also was called and reminded there's a shoot at Red Oak that same weekend, June the 10th, and they're anticipating about 1,400 participants over there. So it's going to be a big item, big ticket item. We mentioned earlier about the Lake Meriwether Committee, and we had our first scheduled other than just our opening meeting. And we're going to have some growing pains. It's going to take us a while to get together and get the committee pretty much doing what it wants to. Bill was one of our guests there last night. Miss Carolyn, they came over and of course presented the what's going on with the trail. And so we're going to be looking more at that here in the short term. So I think it's going to begin to work as it should. Was reminded that down at Gay, and this may be a state thing, we've got the signs that say bridge closed, but there's no detour sign there telling anybody where to go. It may be a phone call to see if we can kind of get that straightened out.
Where's
So,
that, Buster? What's
right there at the red light in Gay, as you come out on 109 Spur,
Okay.
there is a detour sign there. And also, we've got the same on this end down here of 109 Spur.
Okay.
It's not very explicit in how to get you around the bridge that's out over there. Once you're on the road, you don't have a whole lot of choice. And something I was going to remind the commissioners of, your insurance sign, or what do you want to do about choosing your new insurance is going to be Thursday. You come in and meet with all the folks. Our Commissioner Hines and I went through on Tuesday, I think, and at least 3 of you are going to have to come, so just a quick reminder. I was looking down through here. With the Airport Authority, we met with them on Monday, and they are coming into their own. They're really becoming a pretty well-greased organization there, and we're so proud to see it. We don't know what to do, so we're just thankful that that's taking place. One other thing that I was going to mention here that came out in the meeting we were having about the prisoners and about cleanup and that sort of thing. Some of you may not know this, but Troop is closing their prison over there, so they're undergoing some, I think, some pains with their financing, trying to get increased benefits to their employees. So they have elected to close their prison. I mentioned yesterday that's probably going to be a poor decision, but anyway, they're moving down that road, and I don't know anything else you can really do with that.
I can give you an update if you like that. I talked to the county manager yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And the 52 employees that they were letting go, they found them jobs. He said it was losing money, that it was on their side, that they had not had any flack about it at all, because that was not making money at all for the county. So they feel like it was a loss. But those 52 employees, he said, except
They have found jobs?
they have found jobs. So
I just think
they're making more money, he said.
I'm going by here, I just think in the long run, they had that labor pool there, they're going to miss in the near
They
future.
said they covered about, what, $16 million in labor?
Yeah.
But obviously it was losing. But one thing that could probably possibly affect us, if you read down through it, their goal is to increase their law enforcement salaries by about $5 an hour. And you can imagine what that's going to do to our pool. We've paid more than Troop County a little bit for some time. And Harris County has already just recently raised theirs, and it's already a very small pool for law enforcement. So I think that's something that will affect us down the road. Right now, I think they're putting a hiring freeze on, other than the ones they were hiring from the prison camp.
One thing I did forget to mention, as far as the airport's concerned, Skip's probably going to help us with this problem we've been having with the card reader down there, so we got a meeting coming up here in the near future and see what we do with that. So just tell them there's some help, we think, coming.
And I mentioned that to them yesterday.
Great, great, I'm glad you did. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Hines?
Good morning to everyone. Yesterday I attended the Partners in Education meeting. That was a very well-attended meeting, and the information that was presented was just outstanding. Once again, I think there's a lot of good things going on in the county, but we still don't know about it. So hopefully with the update on the website, some of this information can be put on the website so the citizens can be aware of some of the positive things that are going on, especially within our school district and some of the programs that they initiated. One of the other things that they taught, there's a group there called PAXEN, P-A-X-E-N. They provide employment for youth that are 18 age to 24. This is a federally funded program through workforce development. One of their tasks is to identify work sites. The county has already agreed to provide some work sites, and the school district has also decided to provide some work sites. So the issue now is just identifying those young people who could potentially work in these different work sites. So if anyone knows of any young person between the age of 18 and 24 that's looking for employment, this is an excellent program to go through, and then it will allow them to get their first job and see if this is a good fit for them, be it for the county or the school board. So once again, there's some positive things going on, but we've just got to get the information out. The other thing is, you've heard me mention this in the work session and other things, the importance of all these different projects that we do have going on in the county and being able to track them. So I'm excited to know that, Skip, I can't see you over there, that you have taken that and implemented and put something in place. This is going to make it so much easier for Mr. Gay as well as the board, because we do have a lot of things going on. And so I'm glad to know that that initiative has been put in place. So looking forward to seeing how that system's going to work. And
we're going to put that where the board will be able to access that as well, so you guys can look at the tracking device for those different projects as well.
Thank you for following up on that. Appreciate that. And that's it for me.
All right, we'll move on to our attorney, Ms. Henderson.
I don't have anything, but we will have a need for an executive session to discuss briefly matters regarding legal, personnel, and real estate.
All right, before we start the time of public comment, I know Mayor Prater came in a little bit late. He had something he wanted to share from Warm Springs, and was he able to get your pictures or whatever? You want to go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to the public
Madam
comment.
Chairman, Board of Commissioners, Warm Springs continues to improve, and as you can tell, we are coming along with the hotel. If we can get the fire marshal in to give us the inspection there, we'll start sheetrocking in the next few days. In the center picture is, the owner calls it a gazebo. I call it a pavilion. It's too big for a gazebo. But that will be a place that will be used as an event center. And I'm sorry, but the gazebo is covering the fire pit. There will be a fire pit out there that has beautiful brickwork in the skirting of it. And still the anticipated opening of that is August. One of the things that we have also, the governor signed House Bill 511 on the 3rd, and so in June we will be officially annexing in that 110 plus acres of property on the northwest side of town, and will give us room to grow, and hopefully will be an economic advantage to not only Warm Springs but to Meriwether County with some of the things that we'd like to do there. We're fit for Warm Springs City is only, well, we've said it's only 2.5 miles square, but now we'll have to figure out how big it is with the addition. But our postal zone is 54 square miles, and in that area, as most of you know, we have very limited commercial and services for our residents, so that's one of the things we want to look at in the additional property that has been annexed. As I came to you once before, we were given 2 parcels of land in downtown Warm Springs. Both of them had parts of the old motel on them. We have been in discussion with one of the banks to put a very modern ATM system in on one piece of the property, and we knew that we were going to have to remove a building. Well, the Lord helped us with that, and early hours Saturday morning, the wind took the roof off of one end of it, and so we're going to have to do something. And fortunately, Mr. Gay and Tyrell came down and said they could help us knock it down, and then we're looking to get someone to help us with hauling it off. But as I said, Warm Springs is on the move. Thank you.
You've done such a good job, Mayor Prater.
Sure.
All right, now we'll move on to the time for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to say anything, if you'll come to the podium, give your name and address. We'll give you 3 minutes to speak, but as Mr. Gay said, employees.
And I'll be happy to schedule again. I was here at the scheduled time, and if you'd like to talk, I'll be happy to reschedule that.
My comment is about the zoning office in Meriwether County, and for the past 20 years, that office has held me to the strictest of y'all's standards while letting other people get by with doing what they want to do. The latest was in Woodbury, which I know that that's the city of Woodbury, but they contract with the county to do the enforcement and inspection. I was told that by the clerk and the mayor. Said that any commercial building permit had to be approved by Ron Garrett. Before I could get one, I had to have a set of blueprints drawn by an engineer, had to meet all the setback requirements, had to have a commercial general contractor set up to do the work, and had to go before the local planning board to get permission to set my new building diagonally on that lot and get a variance. All right, fine. Then once I get all this and spend a lot of money, get a letter from Ron Garrett stating, I've met all the requirements for a building permit, find out the city has a sewer line across the property, which they don't have an easement for, which that's nothing to do with y'all, that's another fight. But he lets David Ward across the street okays a building permit for him with a set of plans drawn on a piece of notebook paper. He does not meet the setbacks. He does not have a licensed commercial general contractor. He's got a residential contractor doing the work. It's claimed that the reason he gave that building permit or okayed it because it's adding on to an existing structure. No, it wasn't an existing structure, it was a fruit stand out there. It was temporary, that's the way they got by with putting it that close to the right of way to begin with, because it's a temporary structure. David Ward, however, built an enclosed building that's air conditioned and has a restroom in it for sale, so it is definitely commercial. But you know, he does not have to adhere to any of the same things that I was deemed necessary to have. And I was going to build a $250,000 building. He builds a rabbit box across the street. And that's not the only thing. I can cite things going back 20 years, but also some of the things that are going on right now. I spoke to the electrical contractor doing the work at White House Inn. He said that Ron Garrett let them use the 1999 building code instead of using the building code of today. That a lot of safety things have been put in the building codes and electrical since 1999. Your building inspector's not adhering to the National Building Code that is in enforced, should be enforced today. Other thing, Emmett Collins is manufacturing fertilizer at Cedar Rock, and y'all zoning requirements require that to be in an industrial area instead of a commercial. He doesn't enforce anything.
That's the time, and what does have to, like Mr. Gay offered to meet, we talk about
Well,
anything that's personnel wise or.
Well, you know, y'all
that's
done
on-
everything from sexual harassment suit for him having tens of thousands of dollars stolen out of his office. Even if you can't prove it, y'all are firing for stupidity.
All these projects that were discussed are inside the city jurisdiction. Mr. Garrett only inspects, only varies the codes of what they issue permits for. So, anyway, sorry.
Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You said any, okay.
For public comment, yes, sir.
Thank you. Can I stand here?
Yes, sir.
All right. What I want to talk about is,
Can you give us your name, please?
Clifford Lewis.
Okay.
I live out in Odessa. And I have a concern there for, where Harmon Road cross 109. I'm asking if a traffic light be put there. I was coming from our home down to 109. It's several blind spots there. And if a traffic light could be put there, it'd be a safety for everybody. Regardless of which way you're coming on Harmon Road, you can get out on 109 with no problems. Now the other thing I want to talk about is street parties. And I have heard a lot of the people in the community complaining about it. But the last time I was there, we went out on the church van out of Branch Heaven on Odessa Road. And when we left, we just left the church, came out and hit 109 and had to go. And when we come back, we couldn't even come back in Branch Heaven Road. We had to go around and come up from the Harmon Road side. And it was, from where I'm standing, it's really a safety problem. If there was an emergency, vehicles couldn't even get in without a lot of problems. And I never would have known it was as bad as it is unless I came back through that during the time that happened. But when we brought the van back to the church, it was very difficult to get in. Could not get in from 109 side. I had to go all the way around and come in from the Harmon side. So, if any way possible, I ask that chair, commissioners, other neighbors, whoever, take a look at that. It's a real safety problem. And my neighbor, Harvey Snowden, lived on that road. And a couple of times, tractor trailer was coming down 109, and you could see the tie mark in the street where they were sliding. Otherwise, he would have been hit.
Well, Mr. Gay can certainly talk with GDOT. We certainly have to talk with them about any kind of traffic signal or anything like that, but.
And I can tell you from volumes, I mean, I'll be happy to call and inquire. I would not be very optimistic that they would improve that traffic signal there. You're probably talking $150,000 to $200,000 investment. Plus they will tell you where to move traffic And, so I doubt that they would do anything. Possibly we could put some cautionary signs there on each approach that would say, intersection, dangerous intersection, or some kind of warning. And as far as the street parties go, that you can't legally close a county street. And my suggestion on that would be to simply call the sheriff's office or 911 and tell them this is happening. And but I know they will come out and be sure that the lane is kept clear. So that would be my recommendation when that happens again. But I'll be happy to call GDOT and ask, if they can't do that, maybe they can get a warning sign. So
Could that regulation be put in the approval for when someone requests a street light?
Well, I don't know if they even have permits to have one. I doubt they've even gotten permits to do them.
They're just out, and they get it, and that's why I say they keep blocking. So that we have blocks, the board has approved blocking streets for like a race and a walk for a church. If they're gonna block the road, they need to come and ask for it. That way 911, the sheriff's office, emergency knows. This board's the only one that can really close that road. So if you see it closed otherwise,
Need to make some calls.
make some calls.
How often is that happening, Mr. Lewis?
From my understanding, it used to happen every year. This past year and a half was the first time that I experienced it. Right here.
They do it in various, they do it in various communities of the county. They get on the, and let people know they're having a party in such and such a place, and he's right, they do this.
So the entire road is just being blocked?
So do you ever see an advertisement for it? That it's gonna happen?
From what I understand, it's advertised on the
Facebook or something.
Yeah. And people from everywhere come.
If anybody sees it on there, y'all go ahead and report it when you see it posted, if anybody does. That would be a way to get ahead of it, maybe. But thank you, Mr. Lewis, we appreciate it.
All right. And Ms. Ray, I was looking for Lewis, and I'd like to see you before after we dismiss us.
Sure. I will let you know that Mr. Gage, I did go out there to look at that road, so we are working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
I do. My name is Don Cuddy. I live in Luthersville, and as an older American, I appreciate the proclamation. But we have Mother's Day this Sunday. We have Older Americans Month this month. Next week is Police Week, and more specifically, Monday is Peace Officer Memorial Day. And I'd just like to suggest that flags that can be flown at half-staff should be flown at half-staff per month. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? If not, as noted by our county attorney, we do have need for an executive session. But before we go into that, let me just note our future meetings. May 23rd, we will have a work session at 4:30 p.m. That will be followed by our regular meeting at 6 p.m. And all the county offices will be closed on May 29th on Memorial Day. You're welcome to stay till we get through with the executive session. Can we have a motion to go into executive session for legal, personnel, and real estate?
So moved.
We have a second? All in favor? Executive session. Thank you.